What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a lovely day today, and I hope it gets even better from watching this video. We need to have a serious chat about how social media is ruling/ruining our lives, because this is getting completely out of hand. I don't know about you, but I've had one too many social media detoxes, challenges to try to fix this issue, and they do work for a period of time from my experience. And then I just revert back to my usual shenanigans, and recently it's been especially bad. Like, I had one day recently where I swear I spent almost the entire day on social media. I had like a free day, it was raining outside, and by the end of the day, I felt like a lunatic. I was so drained. I felt so groggy, disgusting, horrible, like, ugh. And I do know there's a reason for that. I know from my experience, I spend a lot more time on social media when my life is not great. Like when, I'm trying to escape or numb myself. As you guys know, if you've been watching my channel, I've gone through a really horrific experience in the summer. My boyfriend of 3 years passed away. And so I've been grieving and going through a lot of like emotional changes and, trying to heal and feel better. And so, sometimes you get overwhelmed. And the easiest way to distract yourself and to kind of forget about your life is just whoops. And I can be distracted for literally hours and hours and hours. I was scrolling on Pinterest the other day and I saw a quote that I've seen like 1,000 times. It was like, do you remember who you were before the world told you who you should be? And for me, I feel like I have a very strong sense of self. Like, I am very confident in who I am. I'm not really confused about that. I used to be when I was younger. I have a whole video about confidence and a lot of different videos that covered that topic. So I'll link that down below. But for me, it's more like, who would I be without this social media in terms of how I spend my free time? Like the experiences I have, the people I meet, the hobbies and interests I have. There are so many areas of my life that are kind of honestly controlled by social media at this point, and it's scary. Especially when you look at your screen time, which I highly recommend you do right now. Go into your screen time and then calculate how much time that is in a year. And it is honestly disgusting. It honestly makes me sick. So it says that the average person spends over 2 hours a day on social media. And if you calculate how much that is in a year, according to ChatGPT, it is 1 month. You spend 1 month, one whole month of your year on social media. When I look at that, I think about my dying day, not to get really morbid, but I think about laying on my deathbed and just thinking about how much time I wasted. Because am I gonna remember the hours, the days, the months, the years of my life I spent scrolling? I might remember a really funny trend or something, but overall, considering how much time I spend on this, is that gonna be memorable or fulfilling? And I can already tell you it's not, because it's not even fulfilling while I'm doing it. When I'm done, I'm sick. And remembering how I was when I was a child, or when I've had these longer stints of very low social media use, I'm so much more present. I have so many more hobbies and interests. I'm so much more active. I'm actively participating in my life. The more hobbies you have and the more exciting things you have going on in your life, the less time you want to spend on your phone, on social media. And so an amazing way to get started, if you feel like you don't really have a lot of hobbies, or you don't put a lot of effort into them or a lot of energy, you can check out Skillshare. They're actually sponsoring this video. I've been thinking about these topics a lot, learning about them, reading books about them. So I found an amazing class on Skillshare. It's called Digital Minimalism: Build a Distraction-Free Life with Intentional Tech Use. So I highly recommend checking that out if you want to explore this further. But obviously Skillshare has so many amazing classes where you can really discover or lean into your creativity, your hobbies, your interests. If you don't know, Skillshare is the largest online learning community for creatives. They have thousands of classes led by industry pros across film, illustration, design, freelance, productivity, and more. Skillshare can really help you take your career, your skills, interests, hobbies, passions, or even side hustles to the next level. As I've said, one thing that Skillshare is so helpful with is rediscovering or uncovering your creativity, finding different creative hobbies you want to dip your toe into so you can actually spend your free time in a way that's really fulfilling. I've taken classes about drawing, painting, photography, graphic design, writing. They really have something out there for everyone, so I highly recommend checking it out. And if you're one of the first 500 people to click on my link down below, you will actually receive a 1-month free trial of Skillshare so you can get started today. Obviously, social media is designed to be addictive. I feel like at this point we all know that, but to explain this a little bit further, all these popular social media apps don't have subscriptions. So their currency, or the way they make money, is your attention. The longer they can keep you on it, the longer you can be engaged and scrolling, the more money they make. So obviously they make it as addicting as it could possibly be. And I feel like at this point they've become geniuses at it, because look at us. And I feel like this went to a whole new level when short form video content came out, especially with TikTok, because they're masters at this. Like, you open the app, you start scrolling, and all of a sudden, like 30 minutes have gone by like this. It's just like the easiest, most low effort way to spend your time. Obviously, there's so many amazing things about social media. I have my whole career because of it. I'm financially independent because of it. I have learned so much through social media. It has helped me with so many things, like even recently going through grief. It has been so helpful. So obviously there are amazing positives. It's a tool and it's up to you how you use it. You can use it in a very positive way or in a negative, detrimental way. It is up to you. Okay, let's go a little bit deeper into the dopamine trap of social media. So basically, if you don't know, dopamine is a neurotransmitter that's associated with pleasure, reward, motivation. It's basically released when we experience something enjoyable, whether it is eating, reaching a goal, or things like exercising. And not every dopamine hit is created equal. So whenever our dopamine is very low, we tend to reach for really easy kind of quick fixes that give us a dopamine hit, but it's not necessarily quality, like something that's gonna make you feel good long term. So going on your phone, going on TikTok, scrolling for like half an hour gives you that dopamine hit, but then when you're done, you kind of feel sluggish, or you kind of feel like your brain is foggy, you just don't feel all that great. It's like whenever I'm really, really hungry, like I will eat whatever, even if it's literal crap and absolutely not good for me, I will reach for that because I have let myself get so hungry. And if I was just mildly hungry, I would probably make something healthy for myself and make a good choice. Basically, those low effort dopamine hits, like going on your phone or going on social media and scrolling, does make you feel better in the moment, but it doesn't lead to like long lasting satisfaction, fulfillment, and happiness. I don't know about you, but I've definitely noticed that whenever my life is very fulfilling, like I have things that I'm excited about, I'm working towards something, I've got hobbies, I've got routines, I am social, I'm hanging out with the people that mean a lot to me, that is when I reach for my phone the least. I'm not even interested. It doesn't have the same pull that it does. And even when I go on it, when I'm like already feeling amazing in my life, I scroll and I'm like, does nothing. I don't need it. So that is first and foremost something very important to realize, because an awareness of a problem is a problem half solved. Like, you knowing what you're actually dealing with and your own ways of how you're using and abusing this is amazing knowledge that's really going to help you to tackle this. I think an amazing solution is a dopamine menu because it makes it so easy and straightforward. Basically what it is that you put quality dopamine hit activities on there. You make it like an actual restaurant menu. So you've got starters. So these are things that you do for up to 5 minutes that make you feel really good. So maybe that's taking a quick shower, or making a cup of coffee, or quickly for 5 minutes cleaning something up. Then you've got your mains, so these are like bigger things like going for a walk, working out. Then you've got your sides. These are the things that help you with your mains. So that might be listening to a podcast or listening to meditation music while you're taking a walk. Like, that makes you going on a walk feel more enjoyable and easier. And then you've got your desserts. These are things that are more indulgent. So these can be things that maybe you wouldn't reach for all the time, but are definitely welcomed every once in a while. I have a whole video on this, so I will link my dopamine menu video down below, and it'll give you a lot of different ideas about what you can add to yours. So whenever you're really like craving this and wanting to scroll, you can just reach for the menu and see what you're in the mood for. Another thing we have to talk about is how unhealthy social media is for our minds, because it is actually insane when you think about how many things your brain has to process with you just being on TikTok for 15 minutes, not even 15, 5. Like, how many different types of videos do you see, all the different information you get, all the different emotional experiences. Like, I know I watch one video, it's like really funny, I'm laughing, then the next one, it's a dog or a child or a veteran, I'm bawling my eyes out, then it's something that pisses me off, then it's something that makes me excited and motivated. Like, that is insane to experience all of that in such a short amount of time. You're letting it affect your mental state, your energy, your emotions, and it's pretty wild, like how much information your brain needs to process. Like, I really don't think our brains were designed to handle this, and it's clear they weren't because of all the anxiety and stress so many of us have. I know there's obviously a lot of other reasons people are experiencing anxiety and stress and overwhelm, of course, but that is definitely a huge factor. For me, I really realized that whenever I spend a lot of time on social media, on my phone, I feel really like foggy, like just distracted, impatient. I want like that constant, like instant gratification. It is so rare that I go on social media and I feel amazing after, and I'm like excited to live my life. And like, obviously there is content that inspires me to do that, but like a lot of the time it just makes me want to do more of this because it's easy. I just realized my mic cut off, so we're back now. Hopefully it works. I'm so sorry for the crappy audio. Another thing we absolutely have to talk about is the loneliness epidemic, because it is actually insane. We as people, no matter if you're an extrovert or an introvert, we are social creatures. We need real connection, like real quality connection. We need each other. And obviously social media does have a lot of communities and a lot of ways that you can feel connected, and it can even help you to feel less lonely. But the problem becomes when you spend more and more time on this and less time with the people in your life, because this almost gives you like a false sense of connection, and you need that in-person connection. And just like the visual of, at least for me, like me scrolling in my bed for like 2 hours alone in my apartment, like it's so depressing. I know that I'm so much happier when I'm actually spending like quality time with the people in my life. And obviously there's a balance. I know for me, I love to have some alone time, but do I want to spend all of it scrolling? Absolutely not. Another thing we need to tackle is like the identity crisis of it all. Like, who are you really? Who are you at your core without all the outside noise, all the influence? And with social media, you're bombarded with it all the time. And I feel like this is a real struggle, obviously, for younger people. Like for me personally, I don't really feel like I have like an identity crisis because of social media, but I definitely notice that like I'm gravitating more towards maybe different styles or trends, things that I maybe wouldn't do intrinsically. You know, I'm like kind of coerced into it. I'm persuaded by, you know, influencers or whoever showing, you know, the newest trend, the newest beauty product you absolutely need, the newest fashion trend. And it's so bizarre when you think about it. Like, I've seen so many TikToks. Granted, I haven't been on TikTok in a little while, so trends come and go so quickly. But when like the trad wife trend was going on, and then afterwards it was like, oh guys, the trad wife trend is done. What are we wearing now? Or like, how are we doing our makeup now? And it's just like, do your makeup however you want to do your makeup. Like it's so bizarre. And I've like participated in it when it comes to like especially beauty items. Like I've bought so many lipsticks, concealers, foundations, and it's almost like this thing you absolutely need. You know, they really get you. Like the marketing is out of this world. It's like you absolutely need this. And a lot of the time when I buy it, I'm like, it's just another foundation. Like it really has not changed my life at all. And then 2 weeks later, you don't actually need it anymore because there's a new one that you now absolutely need. And that is where like the money part comes in that I've really noticed. Like when I got off TikTok specifically, also Instagram Reels can have that effect on me, but especially TikTok, I started spending so much less money. Like the amount of times I bought something just because I saw how great it looked on someone else, whether it was clothes, makeup. I've been persuaded to buy so many crappy books, honestly. Like I'm never listening to TikTok recommendations ever again. And obviously there is like that dime every once in a while where you really like get recommended something that's absolutely amazing. But more times than not, it is not all that great. Like it has not actually changed your life, and it is such a waste of money. And it's just like a constant cycle. Like it's never ending. The new products keep coming out, the new trends, the new fashion items you absolutely need. And it is wild the amount of money us women especially spend because of social media. And you really notice that when you get off it or when you minimize it a lot. It is night and day. And to get back to that initial question of like, what would my life look like if I wasn't, spending so much time on social media? It's like, I would probably be spending my money on experiences, maybe concerts, trips, maybe different classes. Maybe I would go to a pottery class or whatever it is. And of course I do that now, but imagine how much more of that I could do if I had more time, because spending so much time on social media really makes you feel like you don't have a lot of time at all. And then when you do a detox or you get off it, you realize how many hours you have in a day. In this current season of my life, I've been spending quite a bit of time on my phone, and I felt like there are not enough hours in a day. I'm constantly like chasing everything that needs to be done, and I don't really feel like I have a lot of time to just relax and sit down. And then I go on my phone to check my screen time, and it's like, oh, that's where all those hours went. And I know that when I get off it, it's like I'm so much more relaxed and present because I have so much more time and I'm not constantly bombarding my brain and getting distracted all the time. And I'm spending way less money. And when I do spend it, it's on things that are meaningful to me. How do you want to spend your time? How do you want to, use and spend the money that you work so hard for? And for me, these things are like no longer worth it. Like no amount of lipsticks, I already have hundreds of them. I'm exaggerating, but like it's not going to change my life. Like what is actually going to change my life is having fulfilling, amazing memories, spending time with the people I love, spending quality time with myself, learning new things, hobbies, even just being quiet, like just sitting in the quiet, not like trying to distract myself all the time. Like when was the last time you did that? I honestly don't know. I even noticed it like when this habit gets out of hand, that's when I'm like, whenever I'm cooking, I'm watching a YouTube video or I'm watching TikToks. When I go to brush my teeth, I'm like watching something. It's like, Jesus Christ, can you just live? Like, can you just exist without like constant noise and information? And I often think about like even silly questions like, what would my style look like if I wasn't on social media? Because I wouldn't see all like the trendy pieces you absolutely need, and like skinny jeans are coming back in, everyone hurry and get some. What type of books would I be reaching for? What would my apartment look like? Would I maybe have some other hobbies and interests? Because I would probably be bored a little bit more and would maybe find something to fill my time. Like it's like there's a beautiful field over there that's like peaceful and beautiful where people feel so amazing, and I'm over here in like crazy candy land and I'm so distracted. I'm just like gobbling all this candy, not actually enjoying myself and like not actually feeling fulfilled. And there's the field right there and I'm like, just get to the freaking field. The scariest thought to me is that I will look back and feel like I didn't actually live my life. Like I wasn't like an active participant in my life because I spent so much time like observing other people's lives. Like that's what we're actually doing. And that is such a sobering thought. Again, imagine yourself on your deathbed and be like, wow, I spent years, when you calculate it, actual years, just like looking at what other people are doing. And I could have spent that time however else, actually. Whenever I have gone off social media for longer periods of time, or I've been really good with like using it only in like positive ways and limiting myself, I have again realized how much free time I have and how like disconnected I've become from myself. And like what makes me truly happy, because when you're constantly distracting yourself, it is really hard to hear that like inner voice. And I know that sounds very woo-woo, but like everyone experiences that. It really is in like those silent present moments where, at least for me, I have so many like creative ideas, so many, actually important thoughts of like what I want to be doing, even, processing things that have happened to me, like actual breakthroughs in my mind. And that doesn't really happen when I'm constantly distracting myself. And I just feel more peaceful. Like I feel like my brain, my body is more relaxed because I'm not constantly like running and chasing all this information. I'm just being. Like I can just take a breath and enjoy the moment. Obviously, I don't have this completely figured out. I definitely have, ups and downs with social media use. I think it's a bit more maybe complicated for me because it's my whole job. It tends to bleed into my free time quite a lot if I'm not careful and very like intentional. I've definitely learned a lot of things that are very helpful. I've mentioned a few throughout this video, like, getting hobbies, routines, like doing things that are fulfilling to you, taking care of your mental health, having certain things that you do that make you feel a lot more stable and happier and healthier. That really, really helps. The dopamine menu is an amazing, like really easy solution. Also for me, like not spending my mornings on my phone. The difference is honestly worlds apart of how I feel if I wake up, go straight on my phone, and how I feel if I don't do that. So that is like a rule in my life that I really try to stick to. Checking your screen time, maybe giving yourself a challenge of like, I'm gonna keep my screen time below 2 hours, and that is my maximum. Putting those limits on certain apps that you usually struggle with. You can even, I think you can set passwords, or maybe there's apps for that. And if you want to do this with a friend or something, you can create passwords for each other. So your friend is the only person who can actually unlock it for you to go on that app, because obviously a lot of time you would just put in the password and just go on it. Like, if you're not very motivated, that's really easy to do. So that is another great idea. Putting your phone on black and white. So if I do this 3 times, my screen is black and white, and that's honestly way less exciting to look at. So it makes me not want to be on this. That's another great one. You need to like set it up in your settings, but it's really, really easy. Deleting apps, like honestly for me, deleting TikTok was such a wise decision. Also, the unfollow mute features are amazing as well. So you can have less people that you follow, and that way there's less exciting content that is being thrown at you. So there are definitely ways that you can improve your relationship with social media and just realize what it's doing to your life, like in a very tangible way, which is what I feel like this whole video is about, is really, really helpful. It really gives you like that kick in the butt of like, what am I doing? Like this needs to change. And then you can either, get off social media completely as a little challenge. You can do a social media detox. Again, mine will be linked down below, or you can find these little ways to limit yourself a bit more and create that balance. That is how I've been going about it, because my job is on social media, so it's pretty hard for me to do anything like really dramatic. There's also a great book that I read. I think it's called Digital Minimalism. That takes you through like a challenge you can do and gives you a bit more information. I'll also have my hobbies video out next week, so we can all have some more hobbies and find more fulfilling ways to spend our time. But I really hope this video was helpful, interesting. I don't know. Let me know if you want me to do more of these kind of podcast chatty style videos, or like even commentaries. I would love to dabble into that. So let me know if there's any topics you want me to cover. And thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you very, very soon.